Welcome to another episode of Cooking Good Meals. Today we're going to be making pinto beans from scratch. For this recipe, we're going to use pinto beans. You can find these at your local supermarket in 1 pound, 2 pound bags. Relatively cheap, and the nice thing about these is you don't have to cook too many, and you get a good yield from them. And that yield will last you a few days, and it takes probably like a week before those beans go bad. So this is the alternate to buying them in a can. So to start, this is a 1 cup serving here. I like to pour them into a styrofoam plate or just a regular plate. Just sort through them, make sure there's no little rocks or stones amongst the pinto beans. Sometimes there will be. So you just eyeball it, make sure there are no little rocks or any sort of filth. Two, we're gonna do 2.5. And again, depending on your family size or whoever you're gonna be feeding, just kind of eyeball it. So that's 2.5. Search through it. I didn't see anything as I was pouring it, so it's a pretty safe bet. There's nothing there. So from here, we're gonna move on to rinsing them. Some of the bags say that they're pre-rinsed. I don't trust them. I like to rinse them a couple times. So we're gonna throw them into a pot and rinse them in the sink. I'll see you there. All right, so we poured the beans into this pot. It's a medium to large size pot. You just wanna make sure you have enough room to add water to about that level right there, and we'll be adding that later. But first, we're just gonna give it a quick rinse. So just swirl the beans around, make sure they have any dust or dirt. Wash it off. You want to do that about 3 times. The first time you do it, you'll notice that the water's kind of hazy. So that's why I always like rinsing it a couple of times. So give it a couple rinses. It looks like the water starts looking clearer. At this point, you're good to go. We'll add water up to that point that I showed you, basically maybe about a 1/3 of an inch below where your pot handle is found, or is attached to the actual pot. We'll let it fill. That's good right there. Now we're gonna take this and take it over to the stove. I'll see you there. All right, so we're over at the stove now. We have our pot with the beans, and we're gonna set the stove to medium heat. We have an electric stove here, but electric or gas, same thing, just medium flame. And other than the beans and the water, there's 2 things you're gonna be adding. I like to add 1 clove of garlic, just to add some flavor to it. And then salt. And the salt will be to taste. I like to do a couple of droppings of salt. And then as the beans cook, you can always taste the bean juice, I guess you can call it, and see if you want to add more salt, and kind of take it slowly so you don't get salty beans. So we'll let this cook. We'll set the timer. So we'll go here, set the timer to about 1 hour and 45 minutes. And what we want here is for the beans to get to a boil and boil for about 1 hour 45. And just keep monitoring the situation, making sure that the water level doesn't go down too much, because then you'll get burnt beans. You don't want that. So if the water level does go down, add a cup or add whatever amount of water you need to get it back to its original level. And just, babysit the beans for 1 hour 45, and you'll have plenty of beans for a while. So we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll come back and check and see the progress. So it's been about 15-16 minutes, and as you can see, this is a good sign. You're going to see some of the pinto beans floating up to the top. It hasn't quite reached a boil yet, but at least you know that they are cooking. So be patient. You have 1.5 hours left. Watch a TV show, but don't forget to come back and check on your beans. You don't want that water level to evaporate to where the water level gets too low and the beans burn on you. And at the same time, you want to make sure this reaches a boil, so keep an eye on it. So sometimes to motivate your beans to boil a little bit, I turn up the heat a little bit. And I had it at the 6th level, a little bit higher, slightly higher than the medium level. And as you can see, we're reaching a boil. So once this starts happening, we want to make sure we put it back on medium to make sure we give these beans the proper time to cook thoroughly. So you can see it's starting to boil. That's what you want to start seeing. If you start seeing that, you're doing it right. Alright, so we're about 45 minutes into the cooking process. And as you can see, the water is starting to gain that nice pinto bean color that we're used to. But if you notice, the water level has gone down. During this process, some water will evaporate. So just fill up a cup of water with warm to hot water and just drop it in there. This is the only reason why I stress keep an eye on your beans. If that water level gets too low, you will burn your beans, so you don't want that to happen. So just make sure you maintain that water level until the cooking process completes. Again, this is 45 minutes in, so we have about another 45 minutes to go. So we're about an hour and 10 minutes in. As you can see, the beans are starting to gain that nice color, but also, as you can see, kind of low in water. So we're gonna go ahead and add another cup of water. See, we're maintaining that same level we started with. And now we just wait. We're about 15-20 minutes away from a final product. Alright, it's been about an hour and 30 minutes. And as you can see, these guys look ready. And they're ready to test if they're ready. Just squish them. See how easily that got squished? If they're nice and soft and squishy, we have beans that are ready. And there we have the final product, a nice bowl of pinto beans made from scratch.